Good to see. Okay, or good to see everybody. Can everyone hear me and see me okay?
Yep.
Good, good. Nice to see everyone. It's amazing we're at Friday again.
Yep.
I don't know about you, but like I noticed that like the days somehow time moves differently when you're just in your house all the time. Like I guess it's the lack of variety of experience that just things start to the days seem to go way faster and yeah, everything kind of does that. But welcome. So we're going to begin. It's now 11 o'clock. And so before we start, I want to apologize that somebody seems to be moving out of their apartment like next door and there's a lot of noise coming around. So if you hear trucks moving and things like that, that's what's going on with that. But of course, as I always teach, those are good things for being mindful of and not necessarily to, we work with our environment. And so we'll do the best we can. Believe it or not, I'm not in shul. The magic of Zoom. Okay, so I want to actually use as the jumping off point something from this week's Parsha. It is quite a mixed bag of some very disturbing things, but also some of the most beautiful things in all of Judaism come in this week's Parsha, which is Acharei Mot Kedoshim, which, by the way, was my bar mitzvah Parsha, by the way. Yeah, anybody else have that Parsha for their bar mitzvah? Anyway, so I'm going to share my screen, actually, one second. Just see if I can get this so we can just take a look at the opening lines of the Parsha. And okay, everybody can see that?
Yep.
Okay, so it says, this is the beginning of Leviticus 19. Daber el adat b'nei Yisrael. God is saying, speak to the whole congregation of the children of Israel. Ve'amarta alehem, say to them, Kidoshim tihiyu. You shall be holy, ki kadosh ani Adonai Elohechem. Because I, the Lord your God, am holy. So what I want us to focus on for our practice this morning is that concept of Kidoshim Tihiyu, that you shall be holy. And one of the things I want to direct our attention to is that it's in the future tense. Kidoshim Tihiyu, you shall be holy, you will be holy. It's not necessarily a given that just because you're Jewish, you're holy. That is not what this line from God is saying. In fact, when Korach launched his rebellion against Moses, he tried to make it say that. And he said, hey, Moses, how come you are lifting yourself above the congregation when all of them are holy? Just like God said. But actually, it doesn't mean just holiness is just what you are as a status. Holiness is something that you have to achieve. And it takes work. In fact, it takes deep spiritual practice to achieve the state of Kedusha. And so that's actually what I want to talk about now. I'm going to see if I can, but I want us to look at other places where we practice the concept of holiness in our prayer life and look at that from the perspective of contemplative practice. Look at it from the perspective of meditation, because those two things are deeply intertwined. So the first thing, when you have the word kadosh, what are some of the prayers that immediately come to mind when that involve the word kadosh? Anybody? How about the kedusha? Right, the kedusha. So do I have it here? Let's see. I do. I have it all set up for you. Good. Everybody can see that? Thumbs up? Yes?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, the Kedusha is what we do as part of the Amidah whenever we are with a minyan. And we don't recite the Kedusha as an individual. It is something that we do together collectively. So there's a statement right there about the power of community and lifting up holiness. But really, we have to understand, what on earth do we mean by Kedusha, by holiness? Like Catholics have the concept of holy water. We don't have any such concept. All water is holy. There's no such thing as something that is a material thing that is inherently more holy than any other material thing. This is a spiritual state of being that we practice, that we work toward. And the Kedusha plays such a central role. It is the most important part of our prayers, of the Amidah, of the standing prayer, because the Kedusha corresponds to the sacrifice, right? The sacrifice in ancient times was a korban. It was humankind drawing close to divinity. So here's where we liturgically enact korban, where we liturgically are exalting ourselves to a higher level of awareness and consciousness, right? So, and that's the key to understanding what Kedusha means in our practice. Kedusha, just like it says in the Parsha, we are enjoined upon to enact Kedusha in our lives, to achieve a state of awareness that is different from the norm, from the conventional. Kadosh really means separate. It means, like the phrase from the Milton curriculum over and over again is separate but elevated, which is good. That's what it means. You're separate and you're elevated up. And what does that really mean, though? Well, meditation is actually the practice of Kedusha. That's what we're doing. We are being separate and elevated from our normal state of awareness and consciousness, so that we can achieve what actually Kedoshim Tihiyu was talking about. So when looking at the Kedusha here on the page, excuse me, we see it's really based on those three core lines that are in bold: the Kadosh, 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 then Baruch Kavod Adonai Mimkomo, and Yimloch Adonai Leolam. And the words around it, the stuff that we're kind of doing on our own and then singing all together, are just elaborations on the theme of those three lines. It's a way of getting us to contemplate it and go deeper into the meaning. So I'm going to focus specifically on the meaning of Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh. Those, of course, is the words of Isaiah. And it's a description of the angels that he saw in his vision. And the idea is, as they say Kadosh, 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 they are rising higher and higher toward God. And that's why we go up on our toes when we say it each time, that we're being like the angels. And so Kadosh, we can use in our practice as a reminder, every time you see the word Kadosh, to key into that kind of awareness, which is the witness, which is the peaceful state of awareness within which all experience arises and passes away. That's what we're cultivating in our meditation. Every moment of our meditation, every time we're following the breath, every time we go have thoughts or sensations and we come back to the breath, we are cultivating this higher Kedusha. It's a way of calling, it's another word for mindfulness, really, is Kedusha, right? That we're cultivating this separate, elevated awareness, which is the part of us that is closer to God in the Jewish typology, right? We're becoming more close, more spiritually close to God. So with each one, higher and higher, we're going deeper and deeper within to this place of awareness. Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzevaot. Right? We've done a whole session on Adonai, Yud He Vav He, which can represent the breath, the in-breath and the out-breath. It is also the way I teach it. Yud Hey Vav Hey is is reality. It is what is. What is arising in this moment is a manifestation of Yud Hey Vav Hey, of the infinite source of all being. Adonai Tzevaot. Tzevaot means the hosts or the armies, actually. In Isaiah's vision, God is the head general of these armies of angels, which also comes to represent the forces of nature, just like we say it in English, the forces of nature itself, of all things. In our practice, I'm going to invite us to look at the tzvaot as the forces of what's happening in our minds, right? Our thoughts are all our forces. Our thoughts, our emotions, our sensations are the echoes of angels within our own being that are all there to serve us. Our thoughts, our feelings, our sensations, our emotions are there just like the angels to God. They serve us. They do our bidding. They are not really separate from us, just like the angels aren't separate from God, right? So we are enacting Adonai Tzevaot within ourselves. Is everyone following me on that one? Please raise your hand if you have any questions or anything like that. I can't see everybody because I'm sharing the screen, but if you have a question, you can do the raise your hand button if you want to ask a question as I'm teaching this. I want to so then it's Malo Chol Haaretz Kivodo. This is a key term in all of, especially in Chassidut. This is actually a mantra that is used as a meditation unto itself. Melo chol haaretz kivodo. That the whole world, the whole earth is filled with God's kavod. Kavod, let's translate that as presence or present awareness, right? It's because we're bringing this into the sphere of the contemplative. Right? So all of the world, all of the reality as we experience it in this moment, all of it is filled with presence, divine awareness that moves through us. That is the awareness that we are accessing when we are in our practice, right? That everything, and then when we leave the meditation chair and go out into the world and look at the world around us, everything is filled with that present awareness. That's how we bring practice into our lives, right? And that's how we connect with God in all moments. The next line, Baruch Kivod Adonai Mimkomo. This is very rich stuff for practice, folks. This is a quote from Ezekiel. And this is another angelic vision from Ezekiel that blessed is the kavod, the presence of God from God's place. This is the same makom that we talk about when we say hamakom yinachem etchem, when we comfort a mourner, right? That God, God's place is heaven, or God's place is the Beit HaMikdash. And in the spiritual realm, God's place is right within your own heart of hearts, right within our own awareness. Baruch means sourced in, right? Indwelling right here. The blessing that flows from within the makom that is us is the kavod Adonai, is the presence of God. Right? All of this can be directed inward in our practice. And I encourage us to do that, and then to bring the insight of that practice when we're in shul or on virtual, whatever. Bring that contemplative awareness to when we recite the Kedusha as a community, because then as a whole community, we lift up. So, the makom is within you. I once saw some article about astrophysics that in some trippy way, the center of the universe, the place where the universe was born, is wherever you are. And there's some science even in the way we measure the vastness of the universe. Every point is actually the center of the universe. So if that's true, that's what we mean. That the place from where all the universe emerges is from right within you in this moment. And that's where the presence emerges. And then finally, Yimloch Adonai leolam Elohayach Tzion l'dor vador. Hallelujah. This is based on a verse from the Psalms. And so this is now, it becomes a sort of prayerful but also an acknowledgement moment that this present awareness, this Kedusha, may it be eternal. In fact, it is eternal. And Elohayach Tzion, the God of Zion, right? This God that we've been talking about in the Bible, this God that we pray to, is Lador Vador. I'm going to give you another way of understanding Lador Vador. We always translate that as from generation to generation. In the realm of the contemplative, Lador Vador means from moment to moment, right? This moment and now this moment. That presence of awareness that is separate from everything else is here. Hallelujah. and that's the insight. So what I want us to do is to sit for a couple of minutes with the concept and the experience, more importantly, of Kedusha. And then I'm going to teach another section of prayer after that. So I'm going to invite us now to sit in a comfortable, alert position. And if you're comfortable, please close your eyes. And let's take a cleansing breath now. Let's do that a couple of more times. In and out. So let's start just with a radical openness now to all sensation. Just in this moment, whatever sensation is arising, just notice it. And you can go from one thing to the next, some sensation that might be in your body, the sensory sensations of the room you're in, the temperature, the sounds, the quality of the air. The sensations and the awareness of whatever mood you're bringing to this, whatever thoughts are running around and you're either in your conscious awareness or just beneath the consciousness, which is this sense of feelings that are bubbling up or not. Whatever it is, notice how one thing can jump to another. There's thoughts, there's feelings, there's sensations, there's pleasant, there's unpleasant. There's a lot that we're stewing in all the time in our conventional consciousness. So in the midst of all of this stuff that's there, let's find repose just in the breath. That when we simply allow ourselves to relax and to be, there is always the universe supporting us, causing us to breathe in, causing us to breathe out, and then returning to the in-breath. And allow the cleansing sensation of the breath give us a sense of renewal in the midst of the sea of sensations and thoughts and feelings that we are normally mired in. And now from that place in the breath, those thoughts and those sensations are going to come. The states of being, whether it's energized or tired or agitated or peaceful. Those states are going to come. They can, quote unquote, distract us from the breath, and that's okay. Just remember the breath is the literal sign in our bodies of Yud He Vav He. It's always there for us to come back to. God is always there as the breath. And with Yud He Vav He as our breath with us now, we can receive all that reality is presenting to us. If there's discursive thought, stories, movies running in our head, an inner voice prattling away, from that place of Yud He Vav He as the breath, we receive now what's arising. We can embrace it. We can hold it, not push it away, not judge it. We can simply notice it lovingly with chesed as the breath breathes us in and out and in again. And as we do this, we're cultivating Kedusha. Kedusha is that quality of awareness that embraces all that is, all that arises, that allows it all to be. That is our awareness. That at one point in our normal consciousness, a thought that could consume us, here in this place of Kedusha, of mindful awareness, we accept it, and we know now that we are more than that thought or that feeling. There is spaciousness around it. And this state of Kedusha that we cultivate, this awareness, this kavod, this presence of God, we begin to realize that everything is happening within us. Everything, the breath itself, the body, the sounds of the environment, the sensations of the environment, our thoughts, our emotions, our ego, all of it is happening within this awareness. And these sensations, these experiences come and they go, and that awareness is still present. Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tsevaot. In this awareness, the loving presence of God is the place where all the Tsevaot, all of our experiences happen. But we are not those experiences. They simply are a part of us. Velo chol haaretz kivodo, all of it. Everything happens within kivodo, within this loving presence. Baruch kivod Adonai mimkomo. And this place is the place, what we mean by bracha, by blessing. It is a blessing to be in the awareness of Kedusha. It is a blessing to know that we are not any of those things that we thought we were. It is a blessing to know that we are the makom, that the place of all blessing and all awareness is right here, right now in this moment. Yimloch Adonai leolam, Elohayach Tzion lador vador, hallelujah. This is the true reality that we're breathing into with each breath. This simple awareness, this embrace of what is, from moment to moment, hallelujah. This is the blessing, this is salvation, redemption, all of those terms. In the simple embrace of whatever it is that arises as we take refuge in the breath. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Lie, lie, lie. Ay, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la. Yeah, la 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 la. Hi la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Okay, anybody have any questions or comments or reactions? Leslie and Joel? Joel?
To me, the learning point embraces more than awareness and welcoming of the attributes and the holiness, but the real challenge, and it's a challenge to accept that, to get to that point, but the real challenge is to apply it. So as if God's presence were within you, well, you know, Bernie Madoff could have gone to Minyan every day, recited this and been aware of the context, but he didn't apply it. And to me, the biggest challenge is not to have it up here, but to apply it in all aspects of your life. And
Yashikawa.
that's a lifelong challenge.
Indeed, Yashikawa. Kol hakavod. That is so correct. And that's why it says Kedoshim Tihiyu. It means it doesn't come automatically. It comes with an incredible amount of practice. You can recite the prayers all you want over and over again. If you're not, this is what we mean by kavana, that you have to enter into the meaning of the prayers when you recite them. Otherwise, it's just rote. And the meanings are incredibly profound. They are incredibly
It's right from the tax law, form over substance,
Substance
Exactly.
substance over form.
You see that they're such spiritual gurus there at the IRS. Yes. Diane, did you have your hand up?
I thought this was a lovely meditation, really lovely, because the idea of Lador Vador from moment to moment really captures something special. And also the simple embrace of whatever it is that exists, to me, is just very powerful. And I'm appreciative.
I'm so glad. I'm so
Morning
glad.
session. Thank you.
Yeah, so glad. Wonderful. Anyone else? Okay, I'm going to teach one more thing. Let's see. I'm going to share my screen again. Okay. I want to teach. So we talked about the Kedusha, and then there's another one, right? The Kaddish. It's this, it's the same concept. So where is this? Where is the same kind of concepts that we looked at in the Kedusha present in the Kaddish? So I'm going to find the Kaddish here. All right, we got a Chatzi Kaddish. That's fine. So this is the basic words of the Kaddish, of all the Kaddishes that we say, and it's the same concept. Right there. It's, maybe it's not as obvious because it's in Aramaic. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei rabbah. That, you've got, may God's name be magnified and sanctified, v'almad yivrach cherutei, that God, in the world that God created according to God's will, v'yamlich malchutei, may God's kingdom rule, b'chayechon uv'yomechon, in our lives and in our days of Achayei Dechol Beit Israel, in the lives of all Israel, Ba'Gala Bisman Kariv, speedily and in good time, Amen. And then Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevarach Le'olam Le'amaya, may God's name, blessed name, be forever and ever. This idea of God's name is significant in the Kaddish. We'll say Shmei Dekud Shabrichu, the name of the Kaddish Baruch Hu, the name of God. The name of God is Kadosh. That's really what we're talking about here, God's holy name. And particularly, I want to direct our attention to this paragraph here. Notice now, let's bring our contemplative practice to these words, right? Yit barach v'yish tabach v'yit poar v'yit romam. Blessed, praise, these are all synonyms, right? Blessed, praised, glorified, exalted, lifted up. V'yit hadar, magnificent. V'yit alei, and again, exalted. V'yit halal, praised, shemei dekud shabrichu, God, that this name, this holiness. La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, higher than any bracha and any song, tushbechata v'nechemata, any kind of praise and praise giving that damiran bialma, that can possibly be said, v'imru amen. Again, so look at what it's doing. It's taking these words of praise and exalted and magnified, and what is it doing? It's lifting us up out of our conventional awareness, right? Think of it as an instruction for meditation, right? That, what was it? I think I've taught this before. Was it Joseph Goldman? One of these, the Jewish Jubus used this metaphor of standing on the banks. If you're standing on the bank of a river and you're watching the boats go by, that's what you're supposed to be doing when you're meditating. But what do we normally do? In our normal state of awareness, we are standing on the banks and we're looking at the boats, but every once in a while, a heck of a showboat goes by. And they're having a huge party on that boat, and there's music and there's drinks and it looks great. And before you know it, you're not standing watching the boat go by, you are on that boat and you're caught up in the party and you didn't realize that you're on the boat, right? And the trick is, how do you get back to the shore? Because that's the practice. So in a sense, that's what this is, the instruction. Don't get caught up in the fancy schmancy looking thoughts and feelings, but go la'ela, right? Go higher, like be in that place of awareness that allows the fullness of that showboat to exist in all of its partying and all of that wonderfulness, but it's going to go by and you're still here, and you don't, and we forget that when we're on the boat, that we're actually more than that, right? So there it is again in the Kaddish. And it's actually very beautiful, because it's a teaching that no matter what it is that we're going through, this is what's really happening. There's this present awareness of the divine that is actually the thing that gives us our life and our awareness. And that's all there is. So if we think we're so important, no. And also, if it's a beautiful idea for the mourner's Kaddish, right? That when you're in grief and you're in pain, this is why the mourner's Kaddish is there as a ray of hope, that we don't have to get, this is that instead of a show party boat, it's a grief boat. You can get so overwhelmed with the grief. And this is the reminder that the divinity that is us is so much more even than the grief and the loss, that there is something undying and always present that is there with us and with our loved ones who have passed as well. So let's just take a moment now that we've looked more deeply into the Kaddish, and we'll just take a short sit with this one as well. Okay, let's take another deep breath. Let it out. A couple of more deep breaths in and out. And in and out. Okay, let's just come right back now, and instead of forcing our breath, just let ourselves be breathed now. Noticing how the breath gives us life and supports us as the breath goes out so that we can return to the next breath. In that place of the breath, let's go back to that practice of Kedusha, which is now our practice of Kaddish. We're doing it with an Aramaic accent. Right? So here we are now, this loving, non-judgmental awareness with each breath. Vador Vador, with each moment, with each breath. Whatever sensation that comes now, it's safe to allow it to be. It's safe to allow anything to arise in this place. It's safe to feel what we feel. It's safe to think what we think. There will be no judgment, no rejection. In this place, we are la'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. We are higher than any praise, any exaltation, and in the opposite sense, any cursing or any judgments. We're higher than all of that now. Higher means we're in a place of divine awareness, of Kedusha. This is the place that is unsullied, unscarred by life's troubles and travails, by life's losses, by life's joys and life's pleasures, by life's boredoms and discomforts and unpleasantness and pleasantness. In this awareness, there is only love. There is only the infinite wisdom that we are more than this, that all of that simply arises within us. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpoar v'yitromam. And this state of awareness is beyond all praise and glory and exaltation. It's beyond all of that. It is infinite peace and stillness. A love so vast and infinite that anything can arise in it. Any judgment, any negativity simply arises and passes away. And that loving awareness is beyond all of it and beyond all praise. It is a place of incredible gratitude for the beauty of this that arises, no matter what it is, no matter what it looks like or feels like. It is Shemei the Kuchabrichu. All of it is the name of the Kadosh Baruch Hu, of God. Meloch Chol Haaretz Kivodo. All of it has the living, loving presence of God with it. As it is born, as it grows and arises, as it flourishes, and then as it slowly passes away. Meloch Chol Haaretz Kivodo. And this is why we say, Yehi Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya. May this infinite peace that we are tapping into in this practice be upon us. May it be a blessing to us in all moments. Osei Shalom Bimromav. This source of infinite, non-judgmental, loving awareness that is in the highest of heights and also in the deepest of deep places within our hearts. Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu. May that bless us in all moments of our lives. El Kol Yisrael, V'El Kol Yoshvei Tevel. May this practice be an intention to bring this awareness in all of our relationships with all human beings, to bring all humanity to this awareness. Amen. Let's just take a moment and sit with our practice now, with the breath and with this Kedusha. Osei Shalom Bimromav. Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu. ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, himru, amen. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Okay, before we close today, anybody have any questions or reflections they wanted to share? Okay, all right, everybody. Well, it has been a pleasure to share this Torah of Kedusha with you today, and I look forward to seeing you all soon. Shabbat Shalom. Kabbalat Shabbat is at 6:30, and tomorrow morning is at 9:15. And we'll practice some Kedusha together with the community when we join together. Keep this in mind. Seriously, work on this next time you.
Thank you so much, Gil. It was beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wonderful
Shabbat
meeting.
shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
Thank
Shalom.
Thank you. It was very comforting.
Thank you.
There, good. I'm glad. I'm so glad, Gail.
Thanks so much.
Thank
Okay.
you.